What is the dating life like in Melbourne as a foreigner? This is probably a question asked frequently on here, but it seems to usually be American or Indian folk, and I'm curious about a more minor group, I guess. But I'm moving from Canada for work, looking for a change up in life. I ask as a single Colombian man myself, what is the culture like? Are people generally open to integrating with foreigners? I've lived most of my adult life in Vancouver, Boston, and have hopes it may be different in attitudes. Dating in North America seemed to often have barriers, and I'm curious how others would view Australia, because people's general perception of Vancouver and Boston in various degrees was that there is mild racism for more tanned folk, that people are cold, reserved, and clique. I always found Australians, both men and women, to always be outgoing, fun, beautiful and charming, but I wonder if that's just what to expect from people travelling expats, since I've never actually been to Australia. If I'm offending anyone, I apologise. I'd just like to not jump into another community where I feel a certain vanity or prejudice to overcome to simply break into the culture, given how this would be a country so far away from most of the people in my life. Heaps of Colombians in Melbourne, mate. Heaps. You'll have good and bad experiences, but overall I reckon you'll have no major issues. One thing is that actual Melburnians who grew up here are extremely cliquey and generally not open to adding friends to their group, especially past mid-20s. Even other Victorians from the country have difficulty joining friendship groups here, so something to be aware of. I've heard in a foreigners forum elsewhere that locals in Melbourne are very friendly, but very hard to actually make friends with. I think this is bang on. Uruguayan here, you'll do fine in dating. Hell, I'm a fat mess on top of being an immigrant and do fine in dating. That being said, sometimes you do run into hateful racist people, they are the minority. Don't get discouraged, just move on, plenty of good people out there. I ask as a single Colombian man myself, what is the culture like? Are people generally open to integrating with foreigners? Melbourne is a city built on migrants. Every second person has a surname like Papadopoulos, Panabianco or Yovanovich. You'll look and sound like just another Melbourne person. It doesn't matter where you live on this planet, you will find racism. There are heaps of mixed race relationships here, if that's what you're asking. No one blinks an eye. There are also many Colombians if you prefer your own culture. Depends on how good looking you are. You'll be fine, mate. Melbourne is full of different cultures, it will probably shock you how much so. Yes, we interact with foreigners. The ones that only associate with the same people from their home country are the ones we hate. If you don't do that, you'll be right. As a Canadian living in a US, my experience is that many Australians don't understand casual racism and how embedded it is in Australian culture. Deeply rooted. Australia is a racist country, just ask the virtue signalers on Reddit rolling on the floor laughing. I realize you're getting two very different responses, which probably tells you, yes, race is an issue here. My white partner who emigrated here from UK will say it's a racist country. On the other hand, Melbourne is the most progressive city in the country. To the point where Australian conservatives can't stand Melbourne, Victoria, and scream about how woke it is. They may also be jealous, scared of Melbourne's great coffee culture though. I don't think you'll have any dating issues in Melbourne, assuming you're a nice guy in general. Welcome to Ounce Smiling Face. No te preocupes pas, tenemos un montón de colombianos aquí ahora y podemos estar de recuerdo en que son las más bellas del mundo, jajaja. Verdad es una ciudad internacional con gente de todo el mundo y soy australiano. When I lived in Melbourne, I had a one-night stand with an American LOL. I think you'll find that us Aussie ladies are attracted to all sorts of people, no matter where they are from. If you've survived the brutal dating culture in Boston, Melbourne will seem like a nice hug. No personal experience with dating in Vancouver, but general consensus is. It's cold. Though what I have to emphasize is luck. In cities where the dating scene has a reputation for being notorious, sometimes you're simply at the right place at the right time. 'Tis the irony of fate. You'll kill it in Melbourne, mate. Yeah, they're no issue. I am mindful of visa incentive though. All the Colombian men I've known locally were mad sluts, getting laid easy. You'll have a great time. You're in one of the best cities. Women actually approach men here. It's insanely cool. I didn't think that would actually ever happen, and how wrong I was. If you're short, that will count against you. But in general, Colombians do just fine here. Your superpower is being able to dance, so use that to your advantage. Some women only date white men, but lots of women date Latino men more so than Asian. Also, lots want to learn Spanish and have an interest in Latin culture, so you can find them. Women like Colombian men. No one does multiculturalism better than Australia. As shit as anywhere else, I guess. Dating preferences aren't racism. Australians don't want any more foreigners, thank you very much. There are too many here already. Go back to your own country. Same rule applies for men in every Western country. It will be extremely difficult unless you're in the top 5 of men, aka Chad. If dating is hard for you in Canada, it will be the same in Australia. My sense is that in North America there are a lot of migrants from Latin America, and they're sometimes resented. If Australians feel that way about anyone, it's East Asians, South Asians, and Middle Easterners. There are less Latin Americans in Australia, proportionally speaking, so you're seen as exotic and get a bit more of a free pass, though probably with some passionate Latin or Mexican stereotypes thrown in out of ignorance. I have mostly dated Americans or Africans for some reason. Anyhow, my husband is from Nigeria and still lives there now as we sort out places to live, etc. Everyone is different. I'm sure people will admire anyone with a different accent. Seems to be the way. I was born overseas, Scotland, but moved here so long ago I consider myself Australian. My partner is Malaysian and moved here at age 16. I know lots of people who were born overseas and none of them have any trouble dating. If anything, having an accent is often a plus. I think ultimately it's about putting yourself in situations where you feel comfortable and respected, so that reciprocal friendships can then be established. Due to the diverse nature of Melbourne, not all areas, places, or people in Melbourne will be open or willing to facilitate this, so finding the best situation for this to occur could be the key. All the best. P.S. I could say a lot more about this, but don't want to spam your post. It's normal in Australia to have a complexion other than pale AF. You might find the etiquette is a bit different, or people may be hesitant to date you because they think you'll move back in a couple of years. Expect them to move countries though. Summing up, the girls in the Colombian community won't want anything with you because you don't have a permanent residency, whereas the Australian-born girls won't want anything with you because they think you just want the permanent residency, so you will be basically stuck in the limbo for some time. There are exceptions, but good luck finding them. It's pretty standard. If you're a guy, and use the apps, get prepared for 1. Height. 2. Income. 3. Job status. If you're a girl, using the apps, it's 1. Boobs. 2. Booty. 3. Proximity. I work with a lovely Colombian woman who moved here about a decade ago. She met her Filipino-Australian partner here and are now living together. I think you'll be fine. All the best. Depends how attractive you are. All I know is my single friends are lusting after the hot South Americans. You'll be fine. You'll face your fate. Rock out with your cock out, baby. Dating in the Western world, odds are against you unless you look like a model or unless you're attracted to obese women who think they're models. Look, you're tan and have an accent. These factors will get you second dates. If you find Aussies to be generally outgoing, fun, beautiful and charming and you are similar, you'll be up to your neck in women and plenty of third date potential, face with stuck out tongue and winking eye. You'll enjoy it more if you're good looking and well hung.